Hello, this is AgentXP, and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Let's Build. In this episode, we're returning to our sandy beach resort, and in the last episode, we added a small barbecue area to the beach, and also the small boat hut that you see there on the left. And we also did a bunch of terraforming, widening the sandy beach area. So in this episode we're going to start off by adding a wooden boardwalk from our boat hut down to the water's edge, and we're going to add a little fishing pier area so that you can go from the boat hut and fish by the water's edge, and it will also serve as a nice launching position for our boats. Also, you may see the sandy spit ahead of us. There's a little sort of island just out to sea, and we're going to do something slightly fun with that. So I think it would be a cool idea to make that into a sort of desert island getaway. So what we're going to be doing is adding a palm tree to it, and a little parasol and a sun lounger, and it can serve as a location for visiting with the boats that you get from the boat hut. And if you want to get away from it all, you can take a boat and pop out to that little island and chill for a bit. So what we're doing here is working on our wooden pier, come boat launching location, and I want to take this a little way out to sea so that we can launch our boats into deeper water. So here I tried to add some fences to the underneath because I wanted to make a sort of pillar for the pier going down to the base of the water, and then I remembered that water doesn't go around pillars in this version of Minecraft. I'm not sure if it does in the aquatic update, but in this version 1.12 it certainly doesn't, so I switched to having a wooden block pillar, even though that doesn't look quite as good. And we're just getting all the wooden walkways to match up because I like symmetry. And we're doing another small pier here, one that's slightly closer to the boat hut, so if we want to launch our boats then we don't have as far to go, or we can launch it in either direction. And that's looking cool. I'm not sure I like the dark oak fence though. I'm going to swap that for jungle wood, I think, because that's slightly less dominating in this particular situation. And I think what I'm going to do is change the end ones as well to jungle wood because I think that looks slightly better. And now we are going to turn our attention to this desert island. And what I'm going to do is add a parasol to start with. And I'm going to do a red one out here because I can afford to do a different colour to the rest of the beach, because this is our little desert island getaway, which I think is really quite cool that the terrain generation has provided us with this. And put a table, and we're going to put a little sun lounger as well, aka a bed or a red bed. And I'm adding a bit of grass in because I don't want it to be entirely sand, because I am going to add a palm tree. I haven't seen that many tutorials on how to build Minecraft palm trees, so I'm kind of just ad-libbing with this, and I'm going to see how it looks. I'm going to take the trunk higher up the tree because I feel like it should be going further up, and the leaves will be coming out from that. I'm using jungle wood because I feel like that gives a really good texture for a palm tree trunk. And we're sort of taking the leaves up and then curving them over at the top, and then putting a bit going down at the edge. That looks quite good. I think the tree trunk's a little bit too straight though, because palm trees tend not to be dead straight. So I think what I'm going to do with this is alter it a little and make the trunk curved. We're going to add in our sun lounger first though. Oops, I fell in the water there. Yeah, that's looking nice. I'm taking a screenshot. But I think I want to change that palm tree and make it a little more natural looking. Yeah, I'm liking how that little desert island looks, aside from the tree trunk. So we're going to try and make this a bit more curved. Like so. Yeah, that kind of looks okay. I'm still not entirely sold on it. We're going to do 2 curves on that tree trunk. Oh, that looks nice. I like that. Yeah, that's better. Cool, I'm happy with that. So, what we're going to do now is add in a couple more of those palm trees, because I do really like that. And with this one, we're going to start curving the trunk straight away and add in some leaves. I absolutely love the jungle leaves. I really like working with them. To build out, and it's really a matter of trial and error with doing these. You just have to play around with it until it sort of looks right, and try and be fairly random with it, I guess, because it needs to try and look natural. And if you just do straight lines, then straight lines are not natural. So I like to place a block and then delete one in order to get the sort of hanging down type leaves on the end of the branches. That's starting to look good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Gonna add in a bit more sand. And now what we are going to start doing is flattening out the area in which we are going to place the long-awaited swimming pool. So here I'm having to clear a bit of the jungle terrain in order to make space for the swimming pool. Hello, Creeper. Are you waiting to go for a swim? And we're going to first of all put sand on the area because I want it to start out as beach, and then we're going to work around that. And we are having to clear into the jungle a little bit because I'm wanting to make this a nice big space in which we can place our swimming pool. And I'm really looking forward to making this because the swimming pool was kind of the highlight of the beach resort the previous time I built it. So, as I've mentioned in the previous few videos, I am trying here to recreate a beach resort that I built on a Minecraft survival server, and I no longer have access to that server because it sort of came to an end, and I can no longer as a result play that beach resort that I built before. So I'm attempting to recreate it from memory, and I'm basically trying to get an idea of how big I want this area, so I'm stepping back, taking a look, etc. So what I'm doing here is putting in the wall around the edge of the swimming pool and contemplating whether the area is the right size. We're going to add in some steps because it's going to have a sort of terrace on the upper level. So I'm going to put a bunch of sun loungers up here eventually. So there'll be a nice area you can walk along and it overlooks the swimming pool. Just getting the right blocks. So I'm going to start digging out the trench for the swimming pool, trying to work out where I am putting the pool, as the positioning of this is quite important, because once I've built it, it'll be a bit of a pain to try and move it over. So I'm taking a lot of care here to try and decide where I want the pool, because as you can imagine, moving a massive pool full of water is not the easiest thing in the world. So I'm trying to make sure I have enough space, because another thing I want to add, in the original beach resort I made, I had a sort of hot tub type pool at the top end of the swimming pool, and it was just a small pool of 4 squares, and this is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to work out where I want the hot tub to go, and I decide later on that I'm going to put it in the same position that I had it in my previous map, and I clear a bit more of the jungle on this side of the pool. and I add it there because that's how it was before and I really liked it. So that's about the right size. We're going to make it a bit wider, and we're going to put quartz trim around the edge of the pool because I feel like that works really well. And we need to allow for the 1 block wide quartz around the edge. We don't want the pool being too big. For one thing, it will take forever to fill it. And after all, we have the sea readily accessible for a really good swim. So we just want a small pool. Oh no. As you can see here, I've just unearthed the cave that's under the beach. Unfortunately, underneath the beach there is an entire system of caves, and I filled in some of them, but I have just unearthed, literally, another one, so I'm going to have to go fill that in at some point. But for now, we are just going to carry on outlining the pool, and that's going to have walls around it anyway, so it's not going to matter too much. And I'm filling in the pool with diorite blocks because they're a nice tile texture and I feel like they work really well. Although I do swap these out for prismarine blocks for a while, and then I go back to these diorite blocks. Once again, most of these materials are quite easy to get in survival. It's just a matter of taking the time to gather them. I mean, once you go to the nether, it's quite easy to get quartz as well. The one thing that's not so easy to get is a sea lantern, and I decided to put that in because it will go with a swimming pool really well. And after a bit, I think, I'm in creative mode here. I could use a block that's slightly more unusual, and I decided to try a prismarine block because I'm trying sea lanterns to start with, and yeah, I didn't like that. So I'm going to try using prismarine, and I thought that maybe that would give a more greeny colour to the water when I fill the pool. I decided to change it back to diorite blocks eventually because I wasn't so keen on the prismarine when I actually came to filling it with water. But it kind of looks okay, it's a matter of taste. So this is quite a long drawn out process here. You can see I'm just filling in all the base of the pool. This is quite a drawn out process, having to fill in all the bottom of the pool. But it'll be worth it in the end when we can make a big splash jumping in. I'm going to make a diving board on this pool as well so that we can literally dive in. Yeah, I like the colour of those prismarine blocks, but I am not really a fan of the texture itself. That's partly why I decided to go back to the diorite in the end, because it didn't really make that much difference to the watercolour either. And I wanted to be able to get in and out of the water easily, so I put steps in, and then I discovered that I actually couldn't get out the sand, so I had to build it up a bit more. And I want to use quartz here because I like quartz steps, so I'm sort of revamping this end a bit. Using the quartz slabs, put some slabs in. Yeah, I decided to put slabs along the side, fill in the ends, and that will allow us to get in and out of the pool. And I'm going to put in some more lights, some more sea lanterns. As the great thing about creative, you can use hard to get blocks like sea lanterns, and they look really nice. I hadn't been able to do that in the original pool that I'm recreating. So I'm putting in some more of these white tiles because I really like those. So filling in the edge of the pool with the tiles. Taking it almost up to the barbecue area. And that is looking nice. So we're not going to be finishing the pool area in this episode. I just wanted to get the main structure of the pool in, and we shall fill it with water because that's the most important thing with a pool, right? And we're going to be doing a bit more terraforming and a bit more decoration in the next episode. what I started doing there was clearing out a bit more at the end of the pool, because I hadn't decided where I was going to put the jacuzzi pool in, and I decided in the end to put it at this end of the pool because that's where it was in the original map that I made, and this is a nice little area for it, I feel. So we're going to put a wall at the end, and then we're going to take out a bit in the middle and put in the jacuzzi pool. I decided to try and step it up, and then I realised you probably couldn't get out with it like that, so I put slabs at the bottom. It's a nice little pool area, and we can see the main pool very well from there. That's good. And step it up, and that is looking nice. Continuing to terraform the area a bit more. Put in some light. I always forget to do that when I'm concentrating on building and terraforming stuff. So apologies if the last couple of episodes have been quite dark in places, because, well, Minecraft Night isn't that dark, but it's still always good to place lights. Now what I'm doing here is attempting different configurations of diving board, because I want a nice diving area where you can jump off and land in the water, because it's fun. I decided to opt for a slightly lower one in the end, because I felt like that looked better. I just wanted a bit of an overhang. I think that's too much. Yeah, that's better, because we want to make sure we land in the deep part of the water. Yeah, that looks quite good, I think. I'm going to keep it like that. That's awesome. That is looking good. I'm really looking forward to decorating this area. Right, now here is the all-important stage, which is adding water, and I'm in 1.12, and I realise here that I have a bit of a problem because water does not go nicely over half slabs in this version, so I'm going to have to rethink my steps a little bit here, potentially. Yeah, but adding a whole bunch of water in, it's so much easier doing this in creative. Filling up the pool, trying to get rid of all the flowy bits because they're just annoying. So this is just a long process of trying to put water on all the squares. And I do some of it from under the water. I've now got caught in this sort of whirlpool in the middle of the pool, which is less than ideal. And I don't have the aquatic update swimming mechanics yet, so getting out of that is a bit of a pain. Right, and what I'm going to do here is change the steps a bit, because I feel like it would work better without the half slabs. There we go. That is looking nice. I decide to change the edges to half slabs so that it's a bit different looking and it's easier to get out of the pool. It's now easy to get out of the water. So we finish off the pool build by putting in the quartz slab edging, and that is almost it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed watching. Quick test of the diving board, because why not? I have built a fishing dock, I worked on a small desert island getaway, I built some palm trees, and I started working on this pool area, and we now have our lovely swimming pool. And what remains for the next episode is to decorate this area and add in some more fun details. Here I decided to swap out some of the prismarine for diorite, and I leave the comparison there for next time. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. Please do consider liking and subscribing, and if you do subscribe, please do be sure to hit the little notification bell so that you're notified when I upload new content. This is Agent XP. I will see you next time. TTFN.